Are you serious? I'm eating here. You really want to know about the 13 colonies that badly? Fine, let's talk about it. Alright, you want to know about 13 colonies enough to interrupt my dinner? Here we go, we're going to talk about them. Before you talk colonies, you got to make a cup of tea. I didn't make the rules, just deal with it. Alright, that's hot. That's hotter than I thought it was. Alright, whatever. So take a look at the map up here. See the map? Good. You got New England. It's the red one. You got the middle colonies. Them's the orange one. Then you got the southern colonies in the south. Them's the green ones. Alright, we're going to kick it off with New England up at the top. Things you got to know about that. Keep in mind, geography plays a big impact in how people survive. If it's hard to live there, it changes how they're going to live. This area is mountainous. It's got rocky, hard soil to grow in. It takes a lot to grow here. You got to break up the rock. You got to get it out of the way. That's not to say they didn't have land to grow on. It's just hard to get to. But on the plus side, they got these big old huge forests. These huge forests make it easy to cut down and build stuff. Houses, towns, villages. And since it's so hard to live on, you want your neighbors nearby, so they start making small towns real quickly. Another thing to keep in mind, they got good harbors. Wood plus a harbor means you can build a ship with a P. Not that thing you thought I said. This area, they like big boats. I cannot lie. Alright, let's talk religion, because a lot of the people who settled in New England did it because they hated the way the church over in England was treating them. You got separatists, also known as pilgrims. These guys came over here because the Church of England was a little bit too down on them. Then you got Puritans. They came over here because the Church of England wasn't down enough. Puritans thought that the Church of England was too soft and nice with their, music and singing and generally enjoying life. Now this area does kind of have pretty strict rules because both of those groups thought they knew better than the ones in England. So they came up here and they set their big old towns up and they made themselves some pretty strict rules about it. So you live in New England. That's great. We said it's hard to grow stuff. How you gonna survive? You gotta make money somehow. So their economy is formed a lot on what we call subsistence farming, meaning you grow enough to feed you and your family. You don't go growing extra stuff to trade. You grow enough to feed what you got. They built a lot of boats. They sold a lot of boats. They shipped a lot of stuff. Again, with the P. They sent it from here to England. Fishing's a big deal up there. Good harbors, good fish, good food. Between that and the little bit you can grow, you're going to survive. Something you got to keep in mind about these guys. A lot of these towns are set up where they get to choose stuff. They left England. England sent them over here because they didn't care. They just wanted somebody to start some colonies. So they got here, they set up their own governments, they started voting for their own leaders, they picked their own governors, and England didn't really mess with them too much as long as they kept sending supplies back to England. Worked out pretty well for them. One of the big famous things you're going to hear from this area is the Mayflower Compact. Before the Pilgrims got here, they all sat down and wrote a legal document creating a body public where they were going to maintain loyalty to the king but set up their own governments to run stuff day to day. It seemed to work out pretty well for them. Alright, middle colonies. This area, again, we're going to kick it off with geography. This area's got plenty of waterways. We got lots of rivers and lakes and things like that makes it easy to send stuff back and forth. We're not talking shipping between here and England, but you could ship between certain parts of the colonies. The weather here is pretty nice too. You got warm summers, pretty mild winters. You can grow stuff for most of the year, which means you got a lot more food here. But growing stuff requires land, so this area is going to be a little bit more spread out than the New England people. They all huddled together for safety and warmth and all that stuff. These guys spread out a little bit because they want to grow some stuff. They got pretty good growing seasons, like I said, with the weather. They got pretty fertile soil, so they can grow it and they can ship it. This is where your Jamestown's going to be. Tobacco. Let's talk about the religions, because in the north they settled there because they wanted to get away. In the middle colonies, they settled there because they wanted to get away. You got Quakers. These guys are pacifists, don't like a lot of what the king is doing, so they move over here to stay out of his trouble. You get a lot of Germans who move here, German Baptists. You get some French Huguenots. Matter of fact, that's what North Carolina was supposed to be set aside for. King didn't like that, wouldn't let that happen. You got a few Jews, you got some Dutch people coming over here and settling, the Amish. Great furniture, keep that in mind. You got some Lutherans, you got some Anglicans. Here you got a lot more religions. For the most part, they all kind of sort of get along. Mainly because they're all so spread out and they don't mess with each other. Now, how you gonna make money down here? Well, you don't have to if you don't want to. You can farm. You can raise enough to survive on and you'll be fine. They grew a lot of wheat, they grew a lot of oats, barley, and rye. Those are all the things you need to make bread and beer. They also shipbuilt as well. Not as much as the northern colonies, but it's what they did. These guys were also skilled craftsmen. You know, them Amish and the furniture I was talking about, they know how to make stuff. These guys are the makers in the colony. There is a little bit of trade between the northern and the southern colonies, but for the most part, they take care of themselves. That's still real hot. Now, your middle colony governments, they're different. They're not like where they were back over in the New England where they just made their own junk up as they go. These are proprietary colonies, meaning you got groups who get together to make a colony. These are groups that are also sometimes royal colonies, meaning the king's the one in charge, not some guy who decides he wants to make some money and build a colony. They've also got a pretty strong court system. Works out pretty well for most people, unless you're in Salem and a lady and somebody accused you of being a witch. Then I hope you are made of asbestos. Southern colonies. Jeez. Southern colonies. Home sweet home for us. Pretty lucky. They got fertile soil, they got a growing season that lasts most of the year, and the winters ain't that bad. You get a few snowflakes here or there, people freak out, you move on and live with it. Now I gotta go ahead and tell you, the economy here, it ain't rocket science. You can grow stuff. What are you gonna do to make money? You're gonna grow stuff. If I got a whole field of 40 acres of tobacco, I'm not suddenly gonna be like, I should make furniture. No, you're gonna grow and you're gonna sell. You're gonna trade. You're gonna make money that way. In this area, you got a lot of tobacco, you got rice, you got cotton. In South Carolina, you got indigo. Indigo's a fancy thing. It's a plant, grind it up, throw it in some water, you get a new color. Indigo. It's real expensive to make, it's a pain in the butt to grow. Rich people loved it. People like the king, they loved them some indigo. They spent a lot of time growing cash crops. These are crops that you can sell, not crops that you can eat. Good luck eating cotton balls. I hear it gives you cotton mouth. Ha! Alright, whatever. Now, as far as the stuff they need to survive that's not growable, they did buy manufactured goods. They bought those manufactured goods from over in England when they could, or they bought it from New England when they made it, or the middle colonies when they made the furniture. You sold your crops, you got some cash, you traded it for some goods, also known as buying stuff. Now, let's talk religion with this group. Most of the time they had pretty well religious freedom. Nobody really messed with them. So spread out, who cares if your neighbor's Jewish or Baptist or Anglican or Amish or Quaker? You didn't ever see them. Now this area focused mostly on making money, not so much on religion. You went to church on Sunday, you worked the rest of the time. Nobody argued you. One big thing you need to know about this southern colony, and a little bit of the middle colonies, they got a whole group of people that don't want to be there. Slaves from Africa. Check out my video on the triangle trade to figure out how that got started. But you also had some groups of people who were here to work, like the slaves, but they wanted to be here. This is called indentured servitude. This is where you signed a contract with somebody, they paid to bring your butt from England over here, and you agreed to work for like 7 to 10 years. And when you got done working, if they liked how well you worked, they gave you a piece of land. You could start your own life. If they didn't like how well you worked, or, you died, you didn't get your land. It's that simple. Now this southern colony stuff, the government is a little bit different. You got a lot of joint stock companies, which is where people throw in cash. They make a company, send colonists over here. When they get here, any money you make gets split among those who threw in stock money. Worked out pretty well. The government was pretty cool though. You had the House of Burgesses. This is a group of legislators who get together, and it's a bicameral house, meaning it's got two parts. Legislators, like senators, and representatives. Worked out pretty well for them. Now you know the 13 colonies. Go back to that front part of the video and learn which one's in what place. You're going to need to know that in class. Go away. I'm going to finish my tea. Maybe watch some more TV. Alright, some more Mr. Betts. But whatever, don't judge me. Go away. Bye. Get out.